Ladies and gentlemen, whether you like it or not.
Greetings, gentle viewers, and tonight we're going to take a look at one of the many Christian movies which is entirely devoid of merit. This is Left Behind. We're not watching that one. Stop putting up decent Christian movies. I know you're scared, but we have to review this. Right. Open your trousers and look down. Good. Now, do you see those wires hanging from your urethra? Now, put up Left Behind or I'll make it feel like you passed Kirk Cameron like a fucking kidney stone! Well, that's a good sign. I'm sure this is going to be a gas.
We should have known better, but we didn't.
Possibly because your God only warned about the rapture by encoding it in the ramblings of a 19th century religious nutjob who decided that things in the Bible meant things that on the surface they plainly didn't. Okay, rough analogy time. Get a field, make sure it's at night, get a big piece of black cardboard, draw on it a big target in black, and then get a complete stranger. Put him in a black blindfold, spin him around on the spot 6 times, hand him a gun and get him to shoot the target. And then tell him he's an idiot for trying.
In the end, there's no denying the truth.
Truths like you have no career, your movie sucks, and you've been reduced to the hetero life made of a kiwi with a banana-sucking fixation.
It's just the right shape for the human mouth.
And according to that ultra-necessary caption, we're in Jerusalem. Yes, whenever I hear that generic Middle Eastern music and I see the massive, gigantic golden tit that is the Dome of the Rock, I think to myself, perhaps we're in Strasbourg. Why is that info there? The entire audience for this film is idiots like me who are reviewing this shit and idiots who believe in the rapture. And they are very interested in Israel, so they know what Jerusalem looks like. Why? Because all the fucking signs are looking for a deal with Israel. And what the fuck is that with capitalizing his last name? And his, and theirs, and theirs, and theirs. It's just... what the fuck? So now we have peaceful crowds of Christians, Jews and Muslims living in peace in Jerusalem. Well, they're not actively killing each other at the moment, so in the Middle East that does count as peace. You know what else counts as peace in the Middle East? All 3 of those religions coming together to kill gay people. Isn't it wonderful? A bunch of nice, peaceful people, the vast majority of whom will burn in hell for believing the wrong mythology. Thanks, God. Holy fuck, the Wailing Wall is wailing! Literally. 6 o'clock in Israel and then 6:03 in Iraq. That's a trick, given that Iraq is an hour ahead of Israel. Iraq, Syria and a bunch of other countries deploy their amazing CGI jet technology. Kirk Cameron is playing Buck Williams, a news reporter, someone who deals in facts and reality. Stop laughing. There's some sort of food shortage, but this doctor has created grain that grows in the desert.
It looks like Iowa.
Do you get many camels in Iowa?
Every nation, every corporation wants your formula, especially in light of the recent crop failures.
No. Eden is not for sale. Not for money. All I want is peace for Israel.
You've got a miracle crop that could end world hunger and you won't give it to anyone until everyone stops hating Israel. You blackmailing dickhead! Have you no idea how human psychology works? If someone hates you, refusing to give them something that they need will only make them hate you more. And if you say you won't give it to them until they say that they love you, you're just gonna make them say that they love you and then break your nose the second they have it. If you want Israel to be safe, then sell it to someone and give the money to the Israeli military, or give it to the world as a gift from Israel. You can't buy publicity like that.
It looks like the Israeli Air Force never sleeps.
Those are not our planes. Not from that direction.
Of course, Mr. Science Beard here had to be a complete another fucking moron and piss off his neighbours, and so they all attack.
Let's take cover.
Mr. Williams, Please, this way.
Syria, Iraq and a load of other countries declare war on the best friend of the most powerful country in the world. They risk annihilation at Israel and America's nukes. To bomb a desert and a field. Actually, the explosions seem to be following them. Perhaps they're trying to save the world from Left Behind 2 and 3 by killing Kirk Cameron now. Noble cause. Amazing facts learned from films number 6789. Israeli NORAD is inside a shack. How the fuck does a scientist slash farmer slash bearded moron slash idiot and Mr. CNN get into the center of the Israeli NORAD without a yelling at and a fucking beating?
What's going on?
It's a full-scale air attack. No warning.
By who?
Could be anyone. No one has more enemies who want to seize or destroy than Israel.
Yeah, except for the Nazis and the cigarette-smoking man and Sauron and the Shadows and me and the Master and Nikolai Ceausescu and Bill O'Reilly and any generic British Hollywood villain and Brannon Braga and Tom Rothman and that cunt you don't fear her and that bastard who cut me up in traffic this morning and... What am I listing again?
You're listing people who have more enemies than Israel, mistress?
Oh, okay. At some point I stopped listing that and started listing people I want to kill. Serious overlap, though. So the planes blow up. Well, that's what they say happened. It looks much more like someone is After Effectsing in generic CGI explosions over crappy CGI planes. Sometimes the explosions aren't anywhere near the planes.
They're jamming on monitors. It's a cruel trick.
Only one way to find out.
So Kirk Cameron runs outside, right underneath where the planes are exploding. Even though the place was bombed into oblivion only minutes ago, when it was daytime. Let me say that again. When it was daytime.
According to scientists at NASA, this morning's unprecedented solar eclipse is no cause for alarm.
So he sets up his satellite dildo and tells the rest of the world about this amazing miracle, making sure to fill most of the screen himself. Hey Ma, check it out! I'm on a green screen! So Buck's co-workers watch his daring report. One of them seems to be a distant relative of Triangle Head from Rats.
Buck would have filmed Hiroshima from ground zero if he'd been there.
And stood in the way of the shot.
War will continue until the end. Desolations have been decreed.
Okay, that's random.
For 7 years.
Careful there, Cameron, you almost did some acting. So with that, the old man walks off into the night, then the fire, then the explosions. There's Israeli NORAD 20 feet away and no one thinks to save the old lunatic. What, no 1920s style gangster music while you fill the entire frame with the Sears Tower just to show the audience that it's Chicago? You're losing your touch, Left Behind.
Correspondence from the Israeli...
Ah, Kirk Cameron's on the news. In real life, he only gets to do that if he says something extremely crazy.
Darwin said in order to prove evolution, which is the #1 alternative to God, you've got to be able to prove transitional forms, one animal transitioning into another. And all through the fossil record and life, we don't find one of these. A crocoduck.
This guy's the star of the film.
However, inside sources reveal
Hey, turn that up.
the suspicion
Mom
of
said to turn it down.
laser defense system.
You always do as you're told? Yeah, you should try it sometime.
I hate that child. It's like Jake Lloyd ate Jonathan Lipnicki and was proud of it.
Oh, nice touch with the nose ring, Chloe. Why not just shave your head and get it over with?
Very funny.
Stock rebelliousness. Wears non-pastel colors, has a nose ring. Probably not a Christian.
Put it in your...
Hey, Reverend.
Hey!
Oh, hi, token black guy. Oh, hi, token black guy's token black son. The captain, Rayford Steele, is the other male lead in the film. He's not a Christian, so in the eyes of the creators, he's clearly meant to be a horrible and unhappy person. He's also having an affair with a stewardess. But nothing comes of it because she's played by Kirk Cameron's real-life wife, and contractually they could only have kissing scenes with each other, even when one of them's not in the film. I'm not kidding. So Kirk's character, Buck, meets up with someone called Dirk. The inexplicable names just don't stop coming. So Buck meets up with Dirk, and for a paranoid informant who knows about the bigger conspiracy and is feeding info to the male lead, he's no Jerry Harden as Deep Throat.
Don't give up on this one. Trust me, you've never been closer.
Dirk, what are you talking about? Don't you see? I'm Rosenzweig, the formula. Come see, it's so clear. What is? The attack, the bombers exploding, the flights exploding, you see? It's all fitting together now.
He needs to be a little bit more crazy, but can anyone see him filling in for Glenn Beck? We're now introduced to a Romanian politician called Nicolae Carpathia, who is trying to bring peace to the world and end hunger. That's the most obvious villain name since Darkheart rapes babies! And I made that up. So that's the most obvious villain name ever. And since he's trying to bring about world peace, and he's not a fundamentalist Christian, he must be the Antichrist. That's a shitty imitation Canadian castle. That's not London.
Oh, if only someone would tell us the way to London town. It's over there.
That's London. Carpathia is talking to an evil American banker that we're supposed to think is his boss. They talk about rebuilding the Temple of Solomon, because that's what evil American bankers who live in fake castles and fake London talk about. Rebuilding temples in Israel. Drum drum dum drama, drum dum drama, drum dum drama, drum dum drama. Afraid that the film doesn't have enough pointless shots, the director has Kirk Cameron stand there. And then walk away. So we're suddenly in a plane and Rayford Steele is the captain. Oh god, Captain Steele. And Kirk Cameron is using some search engine unlike any in the real world. Fun fact, half the extras in this scene are evangelical ministers. They paid to play people who are raptured. That's the religious equivalent of paying a hooker for kinky fantasy role-playing, but not actually having sex with them. Which is a bit of a silly analogy because being evangelical ministers, statistically speaking, most of their sex will come from prostitutes. As I mentioned earlier, the stewardess is Mrs. Kirk Cameron. Obviously they're attracted to each other's lack of ability to act while someone else is speaking. I'm Kirk Cameron! I'm an actor! Not a reactor!
Thank you again for making those phone calls. I got the job.
You did? Great, congratulations.
It's gonna be a big change.
Oh, you're gonna knock them dead.
I can't wait.
You know, the UN's no picnic, especially right now.
How the fuck does a tall-haired dipshit get a bubble-headed stewardess a job at the fucking UN? What's she gonna do, serve drinks in 50 different languages?
Ma'am, is everything okay?
It's my husband. He's disappeared. And take this.
Ma'am?
I think he's gone off naked.
Yeah, most Rapture-believing Christians believe that their clothes are going to be left behind when they're raptured. Rapture-believing Christians, you are fucking weird!
Well, mistress, it's worth mentioning that in Leviticus 19:19, the book says that God is not keen on multi-fabric blends. Perhaps if you're wearing a single blend fabric, you'll get into heaven fine with it.
Stop trying to make sense of their fucking madness!
I happen to think it makes perfect sense, but...
Fuck off!
Oh, charming.
So a bunch of other people on the flight have vanished. I guess he was flying religious lunatic air. He's lucky they didn't try to sacrifice a faultless red heifer before they took off.
I can't find my kids. My grandparents, I can't find.
It's amazing that none of the people who complain about their loved ones being gone use the person's name. It's always, my husband, my wife, my children. Almost as though becoming one with God retroactively destroyed their individuality. So people begin to freak out. And because no one can break a fucking nail on a plane in a movie without someone trying to open the door, someone of course tries to open the door! But it's okay because Buck and Captain Adamantium get to be damn heroic together and save the day. So the plane has landed at O'Hare International and there's an army of scared, worried, crying people who are missing friends, family and even their children. But it's okay because the one who caused this to happen, God, loves them. Rapture believing Christians? You're fucking weird! There's even a dog looking for its owner. People who believe in the rapture, do any of you have pets? And if so, why the fuck? You believe that you could be scooped up into the sky by God at any moment, leaving your pets alone without you, possibly to starve to death. Animal cruelty is only to be done when it's deliberate. Or in Italy. Or possibly when it's funny. Having said all that about the terror and the worry, half the extras either look stoned or like they don't give a shit. My, a lot of atheists were flying that day. So Captain Aluminium arrives home to find his wife and son have been raptured. Throws a Bible in a dramatic expression of anger in 3, 2, 1. For some reason, Kirk Cameron followed the captain home, and then decides to sit on his porch. Because while he's an international news sensation, an international celebrity, and an award-winning reporter, he has no friends, colleagues, or acquaintances in Chicago. Fuck, even I know someone in Chicago. So it's suddenly night time and Kirk Cameron is still standing out in the cold when the army arrive and force him into Captain Titanium's house. So there's a bunch of TV clips that indicate that the makers of this film believe that the UN is a completely separate organisation that controls whole countries, that answers to no one and is bent on world domination, and is not just a talking house for different countries and only as powerful as those countries allow it to be. So even though there's a curfew and the army are forcing people into random houses because there's martial law, Captain Nichols' daughter arrives home without a bullet in her head and sits on Kirk Cameron's feet.
Hold it right there, don't move. Williams, what are you doing in my house?
Hoping you're not gonna brain me with that vase.
This is bad comedy.
If I came home and found Kirk Cameron squatting on my couch, I'd grab a lamp and I'd club him to death. And then I'd search the fridge for Ray Comfort infestations. The man operates a lot like Rorschach. So she cries about her brother and mum. Drum drum dum dum drama, drum dum drama, drum dum drama, drum dum drama. So Kirk Cameron indulges in his boring and pointless investigative plot where he's investigating something that I'm still not clear on, and I've watched this shit 3 times. Once for fun, once for notes taking, once to write the review. And after this goes up, if anyone wants to try and explain it to me, fuck off, I have a machete! He then pays a loudmouth pilot to take him back to New York, or rather somewhere in Canada pretending to be New York. He finds Dirk Burton dead and survives a pretty bad assassination attempt. The assassin tries to kill Buck and then to wipe incriminating evidence from a PC by shooting the monitor. There isn't a word that exists in any language to properly encapsulate how much fail this is, except possibly fail. FAIL! You know, I've just realised that somewhere along the line this review stopped being funny and started being revenge, angry, vitriolic revenge, and I'm almost sorry, but just taking the piss out of this almost feels affectionate, and it deserves worse. Far worse. So to give you a laugh... Minion! Shoot yourself in the head. Shoot yourself in the head! You can have tomorrow off if you shoot yourself in the head. There! Violence is funny! So Captain Platinum meets up with the token black guy who's bitching because although he was a priest, he remains unraptured. They watch a tape from another pastor, made to be watched in the event that the rapture happened, and he was proved to not be completely insane. It's basically one long sort of like the way that I'll pray for you was actually code for fuck you, you undifferential, unbelieving cunt. Meanwhile, at the UN... Actually, no, that's not the UN, because those aren't country flags. Do any of those look like country flags? No. So Mr. Science Beard is now important enough to hang out with the Antichrist. Carpathia shows him that regardless of what all the evidence says, the Temple of Solomon wasn't built on the Dome of the Rock, but instead right beside it. So why is that important? Well, you see, the Rapture believers believe that the temple has to be rebuilt in order for the end times to happen. And not even they are stupid enough to think that the Muslims will allow them to build a temple on top of the rock. God wiping a load of planes from the sky? Faith. God convincing the Muslims to change their mind?
Well, that's just plain gullibility.
The Antichrist is played by a guy called Gordon Curry. I've never seen him in any other role apart from this, but he plays it like Tim Curry in Congo attempting to be James Bond. So the stewardess arrives and she attempts to seduce Captain Bronze. Look at the actress's face. She's obviously uncomfortable and finding it incredibly difficult to play a woman with a sex life. You know, it's not that hard to play someone diametrically opposite to yourself. Take a look.
I'm a shy, meek, small-voiced person who understands subtlety, loves people in black masks, and is really greatly enjoying Left Behind. Oh, and I love the cock.
You see? Unfortunately for the stewardess, the captain is now a Christian, so she runs off. Captain Iron immediately begins proselytizing to his daughter. Lovely, she gets rid of her religious nutjob mum and brother, and now she's got a religious nutjob dad. She reads the Bible and joins the collective. From this moment on, loses the nose ring, drops her semblance of a personality, and starts wearing pastels. Because he's in the middle of that pointless investigative plot that I'm still unable to follow, Kirk Cameron meets up with some guy who then dies in a car bombing. Bye-bye, whoever you were. I love the fact that after Kirk was thrown backwards, he holds his ankle and has blood coming from his thigh. So Kirk Cameron limps all the way to the captain's house in the suburbs of Chicago. That isn't as dumb as it could have been. The car bombing did happen in Chicago, but still, limping all the way to the suburbs? I've been to Chicago. The suburbs are very far from the car bombings. Instead of a hospital, the new Christian zombies take him to a church where they show him the tape.
Take a look at this, it might help.
I wish. No, it's the nya 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 tape. Luckily, Kirk Cameron manages to remain somewhat rational.
Alright, listen, I admit this stuff is compelling. Even scary.
Minion! Facepalm now! So Kirk goes into the non-UN, and through the only ex-stewardess to walk the halls of power, he gets to see Science Beard and the Antichrist, and quickly realizes that he is in fact the Antichrist, forcing Kirk Cameron to try and act.
God.
Kirk Cameron crying. This is a lovely image. Yes, Kirk Cameron, your world's shattered. Creationism is still not taught in schools. Yes, yes, cry, cry. Bananas were made that way by humans, Kirk. Yes, cry, cry. You made up the crocodile. Yes, cry, cry. You've not seen success since the early 90s. Cry, cry. Yes, 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 cry. So Kirk enters the UN's inner chambers, and then the Antichrist gives a villain speech and shoots the two guys who financed him, for some reason, and then brainwashes everyone into thinking that one of them killed the other and then committed suicide. Surely if he's capable of brainwashing someone, all he has to do is take over one of them and then force him to kill the other and then themselves. And now all he's got is lots of fingerprints and DNA evidence pointing towards him. The memory is the least important piece of evidence in an investigation. It doesn't matter if everyone thinks the guy committed suicide. He shot him and the physical evidence will clearly show this. This makes no sense! And why is Kirk Cameron there? Oh, wait, fuck that. Why the hell are a couple of American bankers who live in a fake castle in fake London who want to build a temple in Israel in what is supposed to be a top secret meeting between representatives of the UN? And why shoot them? And why give a villain speech before you kill them if you're gonna wipe everyone's minds? And why does the UN crest look fucking weird? Why isn't this over yet? So the brainwashing didn't work on Kirk because of magic, and he goes off to hang out with the rest of the Borg in Chicago. There are worse places to hang out. There's an awesome pizza place near the train station in Chicago. So, Left Behind. It was slow, stupid, boring, crap, insulting, and worst of all, the most ethically bankrupt film I've ever reviewed. Yes, I'd rather a child was raised on the messages contained in Ilsa, She-Wolf of the SS than on this. It's just warped and stupid. And you know what? People who believe in the Rapture don't drive. You believe that you could be sucked up into heaven at any moment, leaving your car to careen off the road and probably kill someone. Someone who is not a Christian and is therefore destined for hell. You are robbing them of their 7-year opportunity during the tribulation to accept Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior. At least pretend to act as though you believe the shit that you say you believe, or at least have the common decency to pretend to give a shit about other people's well-being. Now, I'm not the most ethical or nice person in the world. Stop laughing! I'll prove it. Mignon! Come here, cunnilingus time. Now, I wouldn't do anything as fucked up as the god of this film. You've just seen me shoot someone while they're going down on me. But I wouldn't do anything as fucked up as the god of this film. They will torture you for all eternity for not loving them. I'll just fucking shoot you while you're going down on me because I like the feeling of your lips quivering as the bullet enters your spinal cord. I'm still better than this god of this film. God of this movie! When you're out-moraled by me! You're fucked up! Right. I would make a better god. I am a better god! Worship me! It took Jesus 3 days to come back to life when he died. Let's see if I can do better.
They're stuck in between the living and the dead.
So these in-betweens are walking around right now, down here in these tunnels, I presume?
So they say.
Why didn't you guys tell me about this? No, we are staying here. Nobody is coming.
For the next 24 hours, evil shall have its day.
How do you kill something that's already dead? Well, when you see it, you run, but